Well, how's it going, everybody? Well, there's a topic that I've been asked to do almost from the first day that I started doing videos, and I just was working on it off and on, and I finally have something for you. Hello, everybody. Ever since I started doing videos on YouTube, I've been asked by many people to do this one topic, and I finally got around to doing it. It deals with these infamous constructs of the alpha and the beta male, and derivatives of these categories are the bad boy and the nice guy. Now, this is about the alpha and beta male, what they are, and even more importantly, what they are not. So I may divide this video over several parts just to make it shorter for you, so that you can take in all the information bit by bit and instead of one huge lump. So here goes. In the Manosphere, the alpha and beta males are defined erroneously, and it was always bugging me to listen to some of these videos and talk about and listen to people talk about it and how wrong they were. And what has always bothered me is that they were erroneously identified and defined by individuals in the Manosphere. The definition of the alpha and the beta male was basically coming from the PUA, the pickup artists community, and or the MGTOW, the men going their own way community. And it's understandable that they intentionally understand the world as they wish it to be, right? Not as it's based in reality, because reality is not very pleasant. Reality being upsetting and myth-defying for the comfort and the aspiration of most individuals. So they're going to give concepts and constructs their own definitions, which serves their own purposes, and it's understandable. It's a lot of these are support groups, and we all need to have hope in the world and in our lives. So we're going to define the world the way we feel comfortable to do so. And they continue to cling to these inaccurate descriptions. And they also seem to attach many characteristics which come out of purely fantasy or delusion, as opposed to being innate characteristics of these two categories. It is all too prevalent and reassuring to find excuses for one's real or perceived deficiencies. And that is the heart of the definition of the alpha and beta male, as most people understand it and have been led to believe. What is extraordinary is that males will invent and then exalt a certain mythical super male as being disproportionately advantageous in life. Now, I don't know why they do that, but all I can tell you is whoever does that is a beta male. An alpha male would never do that. So the super male is portrayed as scoring a disproportionate amount of female attention and submission. However, these same males fail to rationally explain exactly why and how these males arrive at their supposed advantage of triggering desirable female response. You know, you've heard the concept of the bad boy, and that's thrown around quite a bit. And if you're a bad boy, then you will pretty well be the only type of male that's successful with females. And early on, one of the people that asked me to do this topic kept talking about the bad boys and how the bad boys that he knows have all the girls. And well, that's hilarious to me on many levels. You know, we've talked about, through my various video lectures, we've talked about many topics that touch on this general topic of male success with females. And one of the things that we've learned is that every relationship is gynocentrically controlled and gynocentrically centered. So if the so-called bad boy has a disproportionate number of females, you know, he's someone to be pitied, actually, because there is no way around it. All right, the bad boy is controlled, manipulated, and must concede to the needs of the female. There's no other way around it, because every relationship will automatically go in that direction. So we've talked about this. So having all these females, on many levels, it's not even possible. So what it is this concept of the alpha male, and this concept of, and the way they call it is alpha male. Now that's not the way I call it. Having a psychology background, alpha male is not, that's pretty well a layman's term. And beta male, it's a layman's term. And also the concept of the bad boy ties in with the alpha male being one and the same. And they pretty well invent this image of the bad boy. And but that's as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes. In terms of the consequences and the ramifications of the bad boy effect on females, and what the follow-up is to the power of the bad boy, is never discussed. And that's where I came in, and I told you what relationships are all about, be it a good guy or a bad boy. In terms of the way women approach men, there's no variability. Women only approach men one way. And women are very self-centered by nature. And again, this is not a personal attack on any particular woman or all women in general. It's just that the way they're made, the way they're designed. They're designed to have these prerogatives. The male can never live up to the standards of the female. The female is insatiable in her both emotional and materialistic needs. Now, within the Manosphere, the men's groups, the intellectual discussions that men engage in, it's always presented, or quite often it's presented, that the female is only after utilitarian needs, and that is not true. I touch on this in many of my videos, that primarily, at least at the very beginning, it's an emotional need. Unless the female selects a male specifically for utilitarian gain. And many women do that. And, you know, it goes to... Then we touch on another topic, and that is the infamous all women are whores. And all women are whores because they can do that. They can literally have an association, a physical, intimate association with a male where there is no emotional component, where there is not even a physical attraction for that male. And women can very easily do that because that male may fulfill many other aspects that she is in desire of, in need of. So in the Manosphere, the alpha and beta males are defined erroneously. Since most people do not have a psychological background, they intentionally understand the world as they wish it to be, not as it's based in reality. Reality being upsetting and myth-defying for the comfort and the aspiration of most individuals. It is all too prevalent and reassuring to find excuses, assuagement for one's real or perceived deficiencies. Yes, I said deficiencies. Everything revolves around our actual or perceived deficiencies. What is extraordinary is that males will invent and then exalt a certain mythical super male as being the cause, justifying the deficiencies and incapabilities and lack of access. So this young guy that wrote me, he was asking, he kept talking about the bad boy. And I told him, would you mind writing down exactly who and what this bad boy is? Because I don't know if I've ever met one in my life. I don't know what it is. What exactly is a bad boy? So he wrote it down. He wrote down a few examples of bad boys that he knows. And it proceeded to explain that, you know, they're bad boys. Dropped out of school. They're bums. Yet they have fast cars. They're irresponsible. They act like that. They abuse themselves. They abuse others around them. They don't have much careers. They don't go to school. They're not educated, but they get all these girls. And he had no idea why. And I go, exactly. Let's just analyze. You know, they've been in trouble with the law. They get in fights, altercations of all kinds, adventures here and there, while the good guys don't. So I was just trying to figure out, why are these bad boys? And what is consistent within all bad boys is what they actually are, is they're losers. These are losers in society. These are the people that when they're 42, they're either dead, or they got a bad addiction problem, or are homeless, or all of the above. So for some reason, certain males revere the bad boy. For what? For being losers. And apparently these losers can have all the women, or women want them. And that never made sense to me. Never ever made sense to me as to why. Why would these women want losers? Losers also in the way that they're unskilled. They're even unskilled with women. And the fact that they're bad is just that they're absolute losers in society. They have no future. There's no outlook for any type of success that is going to come their way. And even if they did, they would have no skill. They would be unskilled to handle any type of success. And anything that they do get is very temporary. There's no longevity associated with anything that they engage in. So, what exactly is the bad boy? The bad boy is a fucking loser in every instant. So that made me think, how does the bad boy and the good guy, these two characters, these two players on the stage of life, these two very separated categories, the two virtually never overlap, or not to any extent. You're either a bad boy or you're a good guy. Now, these are not my constructs. This comes out of the Manosphere, the a man's brain, the average man's invention of these male character types. So I was wondering, how does this tie in with the alpha male? It's another term they use, and the beta male. Bad boy, good guy. Alpha male, beta male. These are actually terms that I've never used. Because they're quite nebulous. They don't give a clear definition or a clear understanding of who these characters really are and why they are who they are. All I could determine is the bad boy is the village loser. And it's contrary, it's quite dissonant to all of my teachings as to what women are looking for. It's absurd to even imagine, and it doesn't make sense why a woman would choose a bad boy. But I have the answer as to why. There's something the bad boy offers that is quite sticks out. It's quite prevalent. It's quite conspicuous. And it does differentiate the bad boy in certain ways. So reality is quite upsetting and myth-defying for the comfort of the aspirations of most individuals. It is all too prevalent and reassuring to find excuses for one's real or perceived deficiencies. That is the root of the invention of the bad boy and the good guy within the mind of the average male. What is extraordinary is that males will invent and then exalt a certain mythical super male as scoring a disproportionate amount of female attention and submission. However, these same males fail to rationally explain exactly why and how these males arrive at their supposed advantage of triggering desirable female response. Here's the key: the triggering of desirable female response. That is the question. That is what we need to understand and to find some answers to. Desirable female response. As one personality on television in the news business once remarked, and I picked up on this, and I thought it was quite profound and quite telling. He said, "I've been married for, I don't know, 15 years or 18 years or whatever, and I've yet to discover how to arouse a female." and I thought it was quite sincere on his part to admit to that. A lot of males wouldn't admit to that, but it is true. It's not an easy piece of knowledge to get your mind around and to have that revelation. So the first thing to understand is what alphas and betas are not. They are not three things. Three things I'm going to tell you that they are not. If we want to understand what they are, first we have to understand what they're not, because there's a lot of misconception, as I said, in how these two types of males are defined by the average male. Number one, they are not relationship types and not relationship dependent. Understand what I mean? They are not this is very important. They are not relationship types and they are not relationship dependent. They are not relationship states, situations, or conditions. Meaning that you are not defined as an alpha or beta male whether you have women around you, whether you are married, whether you have a girlfriend, whether you have had one girlfriend or 150 girlfriends, whether or not you have a one-night stands every night of the week, or whether you are celibate and a MGTOW monk even. None of this defines being a beta or an alpha, or an alpha or a beta. Being alpha and beta has nothing to do with what type of relationship you are in, whether you are in a relationship or not. So this is the biggest misconception that you hear in the so-called manosphere everywhere. Is you're defined who you are based on the relationship or the type of relationship, or if you are in a relationship. No. Totally wrong. Number two, in understanding what alphas and betas are not. Number two, alphas and betas are not dependent on appearance or body type. You could be the best looking guy at the party, and still be a lame ass type B, beta. While the ugly little guy can be totally alpha and will want to kick your ass and fuck your girlfriend. The ugly little guy. While the stereotypic good looking dude, tall and maybe even muscular, can be a total beta, and often is, because most men are betas, and overwhelmingly the vast majority of men are beta. Very few men are alpha males. Very few. Keep that in mind. So chances are is that you are a beta. You are a beta. Now there's lots of disadvantages, but there's a happy ending to this video, or these series of videos I'm going to do in alpha and beta males. There's a happy ending for the beta male. So stay tuned. Now, I said there's 3 things they are not, and we have only covered 2, so here's the third. Alphas and betas. Those 2 designations are not even indicative of how you behave towards women or how you treat women. Another big, huge misconception and a shaming tactic is that if somebody is married, if somebody does openly and admittedly concede to women, and may even enjoy conceding to women, oh, you're a beta. They're automatically called a beta. Well, I don't do that because I don't do nothing for women, so I must be an alpha. No, you're not. Not even close. So, the way a male treats a woman and the dynamic between that male and any woman does not define whether or not he is alpha or beta. Nothing to do with it. This is in contrast to the deceptive self-improvement training. The super male that they have constructed is capable of scoring a disproportionate amount of female attention and submission. However, these same males fail to rationally explain exactly why and how these males arrive at their supposed advantage of triggering desirable female response. The explanations are absurd. The first thing to understand about alphas and betas is what they are not. Alright? Let's look at what they are not, and it's going to surprise you. They are not 3 things. Number 1, they are not relationship types, and not relationship dependent. Alright? They are not a relationship state or condition. Meaning that if you're in a relationship with a female, If you're married, many believe and promulgate that being a beta male. It's totally wrong. Being alpha or beta has nothing to do with what type of relationship you are in or whether or not you are in a relationship or not. You can be single and be the epitome of a beta male. You can be married and be the epitome, the quintessential alpha male. Now, I will go into it later as to why that is. Number 2, what alphas and betas are not. Number 2, alpha and beta are not dependent on appearance or body type. Again, many promulgate that if one is good looking, has a certain type of stereotypic look, attractiveness as a male, and we can guess what those features are, that they are automatically an alpha male. Very, very mistaken. Totally fucking wrong. You could be the best looking guy at the party and be a lame ass beta male. And that happens more often than not. While the ugly little guy is totally alpha. And will want to kick your ass, kick the ass of the good looking guy, and fuck his girlfriend. Now, if you've never heard this novel definition, accurate definition of the alpha and the beta, at this point you're wondering what the hell's going on. But I'm going to explain to you later, when I explain to you what alphas and betas are. Right now we're dealing with what they are not. Number 3, what they are not. Alpha and beta is not even indicative to how you behave towards women or how you treat women. It's very common, very popular rhetoric to hear in the Manosphere that the aloof, unfeeling, uncaring, domineering male is an alpha male. Totally fucking wrong. Alright? Totally fucking wrong. This is in contrast to the deceptive self-improvement training that beta males, and it's always beta males, that sign on to that sort of thing. The PUA stuff. Which is incomprehensible to me as to its purpose. The only good purpose of pickup artist training is that it can give you techniques in how to have more self-confidence. And more self-confidence is always good. It's good for anybody, men and women. Because when you have self-confidence, you have an identity. and you can make the best use of your talents, the best utilization of who you can be in the maximum degree. Self-confidence. So if you're going to go to PUA to gain more self-confidence, do so. I will tell you again later on. I'm also going to tell you why pickup artistry is a hoax and it's a sham. But let's stick to this for now. So we're on number 3. The way you treat a woman, the way you act with women, the way you portray yourself to women is not indicative of you being an alpha or a beta male. In spite of what these PUA shysters sell you, there is no possibility for anyone to be transformed from alpha to beta or from beta to alpha. Well, in terms of the PUA, their whole training is based upon transforming betas into alphas. Impossible. Impossible. It's equivalent to making a male into a female, just by altering your attitude. Impossible. All you can hope for is more self-confidence by doing the things that previously you were afraid to do. You're confronting your fears. And in that sense, PUA, it's the only worth of PUA. Pickup artistry. It even sounds hilarious. Idiotic. So, they claim that if you transform yourself, or they transform you from beta to alpha, you're set for life. What you are is absolutely coded within you. And no amount of PUA training will change that. You can fake it and try your hardest to masquerade as someone you are not, but you will do it with considerable discomfort, dissonance, confusion, and it will be unsustainable. As with all of PUA, it is the art of deception. Everything about PUA is the art of deception. First, you have to deceive yourself, and then you have to go out there and to the public and try to deceive women to have sex with you. It is so bizarre and so rotten, really. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to the women. What, are you going to deceive them? You're going to first deceive yourself as being something you're not. You're a beta and you're going to pretend you're an alpha. What are you going to do, an acting job? And then you're going to go out there and act as some other character and try to fool women into believing it. Who the fuck are you fooling? You're fooling nobody, not even yourself, because it's unsustainable. It'll just build up tension within you and doubt and dissonance, cognitive dissonance. Deception towards women and deception towards the self. Not a good Not a good deal. Not a good deal. Now, you're kind of wondering, well, why are you saying all this? Well, I'm going to explain to you later why I'm saying this. Because I'm going to tell you what alpha and beta, I'm going to tell you what they are, what they truly are. And they're only one thing. One thing and one thing only. It has been promulgated that alpha is a dominant, self-serving male, while the beta is a female-serving male. So this is how I hear it being defined erroneously. That alpha is a self-serving male, just for me. All the women can come and serve me because I'll show them who's boss. That doesn't work on any level, alright? And it's not even fulfilling for the male. Even if you could achieve that in some weird, sick, demented way and not be reported for domestic abuse or rape even if you could get away with it, it would not be fulfilling, because we're getting right back to something that's very important. Everything hinges upon it. Everything is based upon it. And that is female validation. And that is the nutrition that you're after, even if you admit it or not. So, if you're going to be a self-serving male, and only a self-serving male, you will never achieve, you will never get female validation. And truthfully, if that's how you're going to approach any relationship, there's no woman in the world who's not going to kick you out the door within days. Within days. And the other thing is that if you are a self-serving male, and the definition, the erroneous, very wrong definition that is spread in the manosphere, you will never be able to seduce a woman in the first place. So you pretty well have to slip a drug in her drink, get her drunk, look for women under great emotional duress, troubled women, women who are out to avenge their spouses for whatever reason. And then you'll score, buddy. But you're only going to do it once. And then the next night you got to be looking for another one of these women. It's a sad, sad, sad way to live. And you're going to get nothing out of it. So the beta is defined erroneously as the female-serving male, as opposed to self-serving male. Now this is how I understand it. This is how I see it defined. But that's not what they are. Or they say that the alpha is an independent male. They don't really need women. Women need them. Ugh. That's never taken place in history like that. Never, ever, ever, ever. If you believe that that's the way it was before feminists came around, or before the Frankfurt School came around and brought feminism upon us. But no, it's never been that way. Women have never been different. Men have never been different. It's biological. Biological supersedes everything else. And biology, our biology, has been with us for a very long time. to say the least. And if you want to look at it biblically, it's been with us since the Garden of Eden, since the first female, well, male and then the female were created. Nothing has changed since day one. Nothing to do with the New World Order, the Frankfurt School, feminism. I'm not worried about feminism. Feminism doesn't even exist. That's a whole other topic. Feminism doesn't exist. The average woman doesn't even care about feminism, or doesn't even want to practice it. That's another thing that bugs me. Feminism has been hijacked by lesbians, and if women are going to let lesbians speak for them, that's kind of bizarre. It's like men wanting homosexuals to speak for men. I mean, that's totally bizarre, you know. Homosexuals don't think as men. They don't react to the world the same as men. Just a, you know, different creation, and you know, it's to be respected. They're all, if you're religious, they're all. If you're going to be angry at anybody, be angry at God, because God created everybody, right? So feminism is not an issue, really. You know, as long as lesbians are part of the feminist movement, it's totally illegitimate. I want women to speak for women. Heterosexual women must speak for themselves. Whatever they say, they can go ahead and say it. But don't let anybody else hijack it. Hijack any movement. It's got to be representative of the right individuals within that movement. All right, but we're getting off topic, are we not? Yes, we are. So the alpha is defined as the independent male who uses females as his accessory, while the beta male is used as an accessory by females. Now that's the way it's understood, but it is not correct. There's no such thing as the perfect alpha male and the perfect beta male, and they don't fit into these categories. And the categories are wrong anyway. Alright? The truth is that the female will use any male as an accessory. It's within her functioning, her natural state, to use any the heterosexual female will the healthy female will use any male as an accessory, or will have the incentive to do so and the aspiration to do so, the goal, the objective to do so. It doesn't matter if you are beta or if you are alpha. You're gonna be put in the same direction by females. You're gonna end up in the same place, gradually, consistently, tenaciously, is what women are. Because we talked about directionality and the female directionality and what that is. They don't play games, they don't waste time. If you don't meet what they want, you're gone, buddy. You can go back to your PUA training, because women don't have time for that bullshit. They need to get shit done, and you either help them do it or you're fucking gone. It's as simple as that. So the truth is that the female will view any male as an accessory. The female will evaluate all males indiscriminately, will value all males indiscriminately and instinctually as what he can be for her, what he can do for her, where he can get her. That's not to say that she's not going to do shit for him to get where she wants to go. It's an exchange. In the best scenario, it's an equal exchange. And it's wonderful. Hey, you can't do better than that. You might as well be content with getting an equal exchange. None of the self-serving alpha male garbage. It just, in practice, it'll never fucking work. Understand? And it just bugs me to hear this, and I hear it over and over again. I can't even listen to any more MGTOW videos. No, because I go crazy listening to this shit. It's so mistaken. Female is solipsism personified. Everything, which means that everything revolves around her, and she knows it. It's biological. That's just the way they function. All women are whores. Well, this is not a personal attack on any woman out there. That's the way women function. That's the way they're built. That's the way the gears work. She can't help it. Males can't help the way they function. Males need to inseminate. Women need to build nests. And to suppress the male in the process. Because if the male is not suppressed, she can't secure her nest. Solipsism personified is what the female is, and she is unapologetic and actually even unaware of it. So this channel is not a personal attack on women. It's just defining the truth about men and women. That's all it is. Women are unaware of their female nature. And this is why when they stumble onto one of my videos, they have a knee-jerk reaction. Women have a presumptuous and impetuous reaction to the material that I present because they don't understand and they don't acknowledge, they don't see their own nature. But this is their chance to learn. This is the chance for men and women to learn about their own nature and thus understand relationship dynamics. Women don't even realize the characteristics of their female nature. They think that it's just absolutely the way it should be. The way they were designed, and the way solipsism works is that everything revolves around them. They can't see very far outside of their own existence. And this is why every relationship is gynocentric by nature, and it must be, it has to be, because it's the way it was designed biologically. And no amount of PUA training or alpha male training can counter that. You cannot supersede that. And if you're going to try it, you're going to fail. And you're going to be discarded by the female sooner than you can imagine. Women have very strong prerogatives by which they function. And these prerogatives are you can also, it's a fancy word, but you can define it as the rights and the privileges that is ingrained within female programming. And a lot of the conflict is a result of the male not satisfying these female-held prerogatives, which they insist that they are entitled to. Another word, entitlement, entitled to. So you try to not satisfy the entitled, and you will see what happens to you. Again, the alpha male. The beta male, who supposedly turns into this alpha male, the aloof, domineering, no need for a female validation type of male, simply will cease to exist for any female. The lifespan of such a male is very, very limited. Female nature is independent of what type of male she is in association with. And female nature is general. As I explained before, it is universal, and it is across time. It is not history dependent. It is not culturally dependent. So female nature views all males in the same way. It doesn't matter if you're alpha or beta. Female nature is immutable and unaffected by external factors, such as culture, race, religion, or time. And in this case, type of male, alpha or beta, is irrelevant to any woman. Female or male nature cannot be diminished or augmented. Female or male nature cannot be diminished or augmented. It can only be concealed under suppression or asserted through advocacy, what we have through feminism, right? Or not so much feminism, but more accurately defined as the current political climate. Because politics, what politics is, means that they're trying to profit from any particular group. That's what politics revolves around. And in this case, they're profiting off of women. They're gaining off of women. And women are gaining off of the political system. So their nature cannot be diminished or augmented, but it is made conspicuous through advocacy. And this is what we currently experience in the Western world. The only condition which changes between cultures, secular versus religious, is the level of social moral regulation imposed upon the female. The level of social and moral regulation imposed upon the female, mostly through shaming and resulting in her disconnection with her social group. That's what shaming is. It's a disconnection within a social group. In light of the universality and the invariability of female nature across all cultures, races, religions, political systems, and time, across all of these elements, we can safely deduce that women will endeavor to extract the exact same elements from either an alpha or beta male. That remains a constant. So it doesn't matter what you are or what you think you are, alpha or beta, you're going to end up in the same place within any relationship with a woman. It is totally inaccurate to surmise that the alpha male will disproportionately attract a majority of females, in that instinctually the female will gravitate towards the alpha. The female will primarily evaluate any male based on their utility, emotional or material. They will, in fact, evaluate you as a male on your capability and your willingness to meet her expectations, her prerogatives. And this is where the competent and the incompetent male comes in, and she will evaluate you on your competence and your willingness. To serve her. Again, this has nothing to do with being alpha or beta. And I will tell you why when I get to the part where I tell you what alpha and beta is. So the female will primarily evaluate any male, doesn't matter who you are, based on your utility, emotional or material, based on your ability and your willingness to get her where she wants to go. However, it is very important to understand that utility is never limited to material gains, be it money or status. Often a very important element of female emotional need and acquisition is totally neglected by the naive or the incompetent male. It's the emotional need of the female is neglected by that type of male. And they fail. Fail. A lot of failure. And you could fail right away. Well, you can fail by not even getting the relationship off the ground. Or you can fail very early on within the relationship. Or you can fail years, decades into the relationship. But you're always going to fail for that reason. Neglecting what the prerogatives of the female. Wow. That's an important lesson to learn. Neglecting the prerogatives of the female. Regardless if you're alpha or you're beta. And if you pretend to be an alpha, as you've been taught through pickup artistry training, if you pretend, masquerade as what you think an alpha is, you're going to be fooling nobody. Nobody. Unless you take it. The only way it's going to work for you is if you take advantage of a female. Literally take advantage of a female. And that could be in a very extreme way. Or it could be a more milder type of indirect way. But you're still taking advantage of the female. And you're deceiving the female. And that is wrong. It's wrong for you. Because as I said, everything is based on female validation. And if you're not receiving your female validation, you're fucking getting nothing. you're having a greasy burger, and as soon as you leave the fast food joint, you might as well fucking throw it up, because it's gonna do you no good. It's not gonna give you any nutrition anyway, so you're not gonna lose anything. Throw it up. Barf outside the door. In fact, it'll make you feel better if you do barf. So you must get your nutrition out of any association, any relationship with a female. As I have just mentioned, that physical attractiveness of the male is never dependent on being alpha or beta. So these males, they stumble onto some MGTOW videos or PUA videos, and they figure that the alpha male has got to be a good-looking male. Oh yeah, all good-looking males are alpha males. Very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. And I'll tell you very shortly why. Or stating it another way, alpha and beta is not predicated upon physical attractiveness. So you can be an unattractive male and be totally alpha man, or you can be a very attractive male and be an absolute beta. Now, we haven't even gotten to what alpha and beta are in terms of the characteristics of these two categories, but we will also do that as well. Therefore, it is not guaranteed that any alpha will be able to seduce the female, since he may be good-looking, ugly, or anything in between. It's because physical attractiveness of the male is the primary element of garnering attention from women. And attractiveness is for the male his greatest asset, to be noticed, but only to be noticed. You drop off your resume, and most likely you will never be asked back for an actual job interview. But if your resume is attractive, you will be asked to come in for an interview, at which point most likely you will fail the interview, but at least you will be asked to come in and go through it. And that's what attractiveness is. So, being an alpha male, you could be good looking, you could be somewhere in between, or you could be ugly. So therefore, it doesn't mean you're going to be noticed. You're going to be noticed if you're attractive. But attractiveness only goes so far. Women who have even the slightest experience with dating or relationships will realize that attractiveness is just that. It's just attractiveness. Whatever the female needs, she's not going to be getting other than attractiveness. And attractiveness is not going to get her very far to where she wants to go. There's no sense in having a beautiful sports car that has no engine in it and doesn't function. You can't drive it anywhere. All you can do is look at it. Not good. With attractiveness, it must be very closely followed by the competent male. Competent male meaning somebody who is able and willing to provide her with emotional and material utility. So physical attractiveness, regardless of you being an alpha and a beta, or a bad boy or a good guy, physical attractiveness is, for the male, the primary element of garnering attention from females. And attractiveness is, for the male, his greatest asset to be noticed. This is when the door is opened by the female. But for what purpose and for how long? The door is opened for the serious female evaluation to commence. It's opened for what follows is serious female evaluation. Once physical attraction towards the male is established, a much more important metric is employed by the female in terms of desirability and enduring acceptance of the male. Enduring acceptance of the male. Are you a keeper or are you not a keeper? However, physical attraction is not sufficient for any female as it is for the male. Physical attraction is not sufficient for the female. For the male, and maybe if he's just concentrating on insemination or even gaining female validation, can be gained if he's selected by an attractive female. But for the female, it is not sufficient to be in association with a male who can only offer attractiveness. The female is not out to inseminate. All right? Let's not project male sexuality onto females. That is very wrong. And it is predisposed to failure whenever you project male sexuality onto women. The female is out to make a nest and have the male build it for her. Naive males have the unrelenting tendency to project male sexuality and sexual strategy onto females. This is where they fail miserably and end up completely defeated. For the male, physical attraction to the female is sufficient for insemination to take place. This is why the male does and must fall in lust almost immediately, virtually instantly, based on entirely on female physical attributes. The female does not. The female often does not. This is where marriages fail. This is where relationships fail. If the relationship from the very start was not based on lust, because everything is built upon lust. Lust is the foundation upon which love is built. The female, conversely, must make a serious evaluation of the male for her traditional consent to be inseminated. For this reason, male rejection of females is all too prevalent, and why the female is the one who always makes the selection, not the male. So in other words, in terms of the successful PUA pickup artist, one thing that you will not receive is that you will not receive permanence and exclusivity from any particular female. And if you don't receive permanence and exclusivity, it is nothing more than a meaningless, emotionally empty encounter which will get you absolutely no female validation. It's like going to a prostitute. Except with a prostitute, it's more honest. It's a financial, it's an exchange, it's a business transaction where the PUA engages in indirect payment for sex, but it is the same meaningless sex with no permanence and no exclusivity on the part of the female. That female will not give herself to you and you alone, exclusively to you. The bottom line is that you, as a PUA beta male masquerading as an alpha male, will not be desired by the female. It's going to be quick, dirty, and empty. And you'll be gone and she'll be gone. And then you got to do the cycle all over again and go through your scam all over again. And which is fine, I guess, if you were going to get something out of it, but you don't get anything out of it. That's the problem. And we want to encourage men to actually get something out of any association with a female, right? That's the goal, right? And same with women. Women need to get something out of the association also. Because other than that, it's has no purpose. It's useless. So whoever holds the more stringent standards for selection actually holds control and leverage of the process. And who holds the more stringent standards for the selection? The female always does. Because the female is not out to inseminate. The female is not out to only be inseminated. No selection other than sexual arousal is needed for the male to inseminate. No selection other than sexual arousal is needed for the male. What females don't give males acknowledgement for is that the male sexual arousal is imperative and necessary for the male to be sexually functional. So females don't give males acknowledgement for this. Why it is essential for the male to be aroused. For the female, she does not need to be aroused to engage in sexual, and to be sexually functional. Hence, all women are whores. Even physiologically, they are whores. They can be. They are because they can be. A male can't be. At least a male has to be physically aroused to even function. Even get an erection. Sexual arousal is not necessary for the female to be sexually viable or for the male to successfully inseminate her. And thus the female is fundamentally and physiologically predisposed to insincerity. The female is predisposed to insincerity, even in her sexual response. So the female sexual responses can be very different from the male sexual response. The male sexual response cannot vary. A guy can't lie there and spread his legs and close his eyes and wait for it to be over. But a female can and does. nature does not demand sincerity from a woman, but it dictates it for the man. For this reason, a woman largely lives and functions by insincerity, hence the whore. I mean, what is the whore? Everything a prostitute does is based on insincerity. It's a facsimile of a lustful relationship. A lustful relationship is sincere, but a prostitute only gives the appearance of that, the fantasy of that, the play acting of that, the role playing of that, for which the male pays. But he's paying for a lie. What he's really looking for is the sincerity from the female, where the female actually is feeling the lust and the male is in demand. The male is desired, and when that takes place is when the male, the only time the male can and will receive female validation, hence satisfaction, fulfillment, a feeling of masculinity. The woman is biologically designed, predisposed to insincerity, and only in the best of circumstances she can bypass that and have what I call a meaningful relationship, where she's receiving male validation from the male and the male is receiving female validation from the female. So to summarize for you, the alpha and beta male, what are they not? Number one, they are not relationship types. If you're a married male, it does not mean you're a beta male. If you're a single MGTOW, it does not mean that you're an alpha male. No connection. Number two, alpha and beta are not dependent on physical appearance, attractiveness, unattractiveness, or body type. Being tall or short or fat or skinny means absolutely nothing in terms of being alpha or beta. Number three, alpha and beta is not indicative to how you behave towards women and how you treat women and what your attitude is within a relationship. Thanks for watching.